Brought to you by Pentz Homes and part of the Hitting the Hardwood podcast network. This is Lynx Happy Hour. Yo, what up, Lynx fans? Welcome back and welcome into another episode of Lynx Happy Hour, the podcast where Lynx basketball is always on special. I am your host, Terry Horstman, coming at you here on the afternoon of Wednesday, June 10th, and your Minnesota Lynx coming off a phenomenal beatdown of the former holders of the number one offensive rating in the WNBA, the Dallas Wings. Number one, no more. Lynx made them tumble all the way to number two and happily took that number one offensive rating from the Wings. That is 8 in a row for the Lynx, 10-2, 4-0 in Commissioner's Cup play, plus 81 point differential. Cheryl Reeves, 6 wins away from breaking Mike Tebow's all-time regular season wins record. This is Lynx basketball by the numbers, I guess, to start this episode. Very excited for this week on the show. I'll have quite a few, way more episodes than normal. We're already at that point. I had a couple great conversations today. One with the phenomenal SABREENA Merchant from The Athletic and of the No Offseason podcast. And also a conversation with MinPost's very own, the great Pat Borzi. Both conversations so great, and we went long on both. So I am going to give them equal shine and break them up into 2 episodes. So today's episode, you will hear my conversation with SABREENA, and then tomorrow, same happy hour-ish time, I'll release another episode where it's Pat and I talking. The Lynx having a couple, like four whole days in between games is always nice for catching up and keeping content and shit relevant. There's that content word again. I promised I'd stop saying that. I think it only bothers me. So we need to start a swear jar for when I only say content around here. That's $2 right there. But we got into all the usual stuff. SABREENA, we cover the Lynx hot start kind of from the league-wide view, and then with Pat tomorrow, you'll hear some stories from back in the day. Pat has been writing about the Lynx since the dawn of the Cheryl Reeve era, so way longer than I have. Both phenomenal conversations as well. So very excited for this week on the show, and then I will of course be in Las Vegas for this game between the Lynx and the Aces on Saturday. Really looking forward to that. That's got to be as marquee as marquee gets for a game in June. Really looking forward to that. So that is a sort of a snapshot of the week. Can talk all day long about that Lynx Wings game and just how this run just keeps on going. It just continues. But let's not waste too much time here. Let's get into my conversation with the Athletics' SABREENA Merchant right here after the break. Stick around. This episode of Lynx Happy Hour is brought to you by Pentz Homes. The team at Pentz Homes has experience working with first-time home buyers, folks selling their first home and buying their next place, to people looking to downsize. With the best tools, technology, and trusted vendors to help with any home project, Pentz Homes is a top choice for buyers and sellers. For more info and to set up a time to meet with Nate and the team to talk about your home buying or selling needs, visit pentzhomes.com. That is Pentz, PentzHomes.com. Very exciting day here at Lynx Happy Hour, joined by one of my favorite people, one of my favorite writers in our space. She's giving me side eye right now as I'm buttering her up. But the athletic Sabrina Merchant. Sabrina, thank you so much for coming on to the show here today. Your first 2026 appearance on the Lynx Pod. Uh, Very happy to have you here. How are you doing right now? How's the season treating you so far?
I'm doing great. I don't know if your listeners know, but I'm based in LA, so the Sparks are, watchable this year, which is
Yeah,
great.
they're
Better than the
interesting.
start of last season, I would say.
Yeah, the worst thing you can be in this league is boring, and I don't think the Sparks are
Boring. No,
boring.
I don't think the Sparks are boring at all. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm always appreciative when like interesting games are happening in my local, market,
Hmm.
and the league's just been a lot of fun. This is like a very meta thing to say, but I find it a little bit harder with 15 teams to keep up with everything. Like I've always been
Hmm.
I can watch every WNBA happening, like there's enough time to do all of it, and I can't do it anymore. So I'm picking my
Yeah.
spots a little bit.
Yeah, I'm feeling that, and even as someone who's been on a specific beat, I've tried, and I struggled with that before it was 15, and
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
15
putting in
appears to
more
be my
work on
tipping
League
point.
Pass
So
this year, so I'll there one like bit of a connection I know, the great women's sports exclusive sports bar here, a bar of their own, the owner's nephew. I forget how old he is, but he's very, cute little guy, is in California and a Kelsey Plum super fan and got surprised
mm,
with tickets behind the Sparks bench for I think the next Sparks home game. So
mm.
shout out Jillian's nephew. There's a great Instagram post on a bar of their own's Instagram. I'm sure everyone listening to the show is already following that, but um yeah, he just wants a high five from Kelsey Plum, and I'm sure that we can make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, now that I know what to look for, I'm gonna be keeping an eye out.
For
June
sure, for
17th.
sure. Help, always helping you out. Sabrina, you have a piece at The Athletic that went up this morning, as we talk, this Wednesday morning, June 10th. I'd say a fairly decent win for the Lynx last night,
Yeah. That's a good
holding
one.
the #1 offensive rating for Dallas no more. But they entered the night with that. They've tumbled down to almost two full rating points, points per 100 possessions behind the Lynx of in that rating. But as your headline says, Lynx are indisputably #1. And the overarching takeaway, the Lynx are playing better basketball than anyone in the WNBA. Not my words, though I agree, as I tend to agree with you, my brilliant friend. Just kind of what we're 12 games in now. It's still early, but the sample size isn't small anymore.
Hmm.
As someone who had the Lynx at #8 in their preseason power rankings,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is your gauge of level? What is your level of surprise given that this is still a Cheryl Reeve coach team?
Yeah, my goal in the preseason power rankings was I'm not going to put the Lynx out of the playoffs because that's insane. I can't do that. But then I
Right.
just kept stacking more and more teams, and I was like, crap, like how do I do this?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I shouldn't be surprised, but I watched a lot of Natasha Howard last year, and I thought the athleticism was waning a little bit, and I wasn't super impressed with her defense in Indiana. Nia Coffey was basically getting phased out in Atlanta for Naz Hillman, right? Like she was playing single digit minutes off the bench a lot of those games down the stretch of the season. Alana Smith, was co-defensive player of the year, like big Jess Shepard fan,
Hmm.
obviously enormous Nafisa Collier fan. Like I've voted for her for MVP multiple times. So like
Yeah.
those are a lot of things like that seem to suggest a cause for concern in Minnesota. And yet the system just works. It just works. And
Hmm.
maybe Carl Semesco should have been playing Nia Coffey more. And maybe Natasha Howard's just a five instead of a four, like, Indiana was trying to pigeonhole her into, which I think is pretty clearly. I don't even need to say maybe. Natasha Howard's a five, not a four.
Right.
That is the answer to that question. But yeah, I think Olivia Miles is like unlocks a lot of this, but they just have so many good veterans, and Cheryl Reeve is so good at optimizing her individual players, right? Like rarely does somebody go to Minnesota and you think like, oh, I don't think they're going to be like used to the best of their ability. It was just, was there
Hmm.
enough best in these players, to achieve a #1 seed? And like, I was wrong. There clearly was enough left in Nia Coffey and Natasha Howard tanks and Courtney Williams. My goodness, like they put up a stat last night about her mid-range shooting. I
Yeah.
think she's taking like 8 mid-range jumpers per game and shooting like 57% on them, which is just goodness
Right.
gracious. Like
Apparently,
cash
there's
those in.
only the Connecticut Sun are the only team full team that have attempted more mid-range shots than Courtney Williams this year. And
And like,
that's maybe a
why
case
not?
against
You know?
taking mid-range shots in the Connecticut Suns case. But in Courtney Williams' case,
Right.
as so many times, like, the chatter around, media area, people, are obviously we're all armchair GMs and
Mhm.
coaches, and um people will be like, like not a great shot when something like Courtney's putting it up. And I'm like, it's a good shot if it goes
It's
in.
a good
Like, it's
shot.
it's
Yeah,
only a
yeah,
bad if you're down three with a second left and she takes it,
yeah.
then we can agree that it's a bad
Right,
shot.
right.
But
Yeah, so I overstated a little bit. Only
yeah,
51%, but on
no,
8.7 attempts per game, like
yeah.
51% inside the arc. Like, come on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think, and being, local and just kind of like, oh, like watching like every training camp practice, well, not the practice part, but watching
Hmm.
the end
Yeah.
of when they're not, tipping their hand at all and then just talking to them every day.
Right.
Obviously there's kind of that like slow burn into like, oh, this is how they play now. But like if the system works, and of course Cheryl has a system, but I think it's like the systems work because they are, of
Mhm.
course, playing way differently than they
Yeah.
have the last couple years. Of I think one of my friends was like, should I be worried about the Lynx assist rate dropping off? And I'm like, no, because they're just attacking the basket now, and
Yeah.
statisticians are stingy with some of these assists. I saw Olivia Miles get one and then had one taken away last night.
Mm.
I'm just like, okay, that's tough because they're just uh, putting the ball on the floor a bit more, but it's been fun to watch. I'm just curious, kind of someone who observes the whole league, and you have a better 30,000 feet view of this than I do. Um, are they more aesthetically pleasing than they've been in the past, less, or is it just kind of like different and like this also works? So like, cool.
Yeah, I would say over this last 3 year stretch, because 2022 and 2023 were not fun Lynx seasons to watch. Um, 24 and 25 were super fun to watch. Like aesthetically wise, Fee, I think, is one of the more pleasing players to watch in the league. Just she can shoot from anywhere. She can, like, her footwork is tremendous. So this is just different, right? Like the frequency of the screening actions, like I think is what sets the team apart, right? It's not just that they run a lot of pick and rolls, obviously. Natasha Howard finishes a lot of those. Nia Coffey finishes some of those. Sometimes Liv just drives off of them, right? Like
Mhm.
I was actually impressed at how many she just like even rejected the screen and just got straight into the paint last night too.
Mhm.
And then Courtney Williams and Caleb McBride just have among the prettier jumpers in the WNBA, right? Like they look very different, but they're both like equally enjoyable to watch because Courtney's got like there's a certain like I don't know, like speed to it almost. Like it moves so quickly, whereas Kayla's got a little bit more of the arc and it's a little bit more traditional jump shot type
Mhm.
thing. But yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. They look very different than they did last year because there is a little bit less, you know, overall ball movement, I think, over the course of a
Mhm.
single half court possession. Like they target specific actions and like know what's going to work on a single possession, which is fine. Like it works. But there's still a lot of player movement, which
Mhm.
I think is enjoyable to watch. And then defensively, like they just get into people, right?
Mhm.
Like Jose Fernandez was talking about this last night, how they just make every screen so hard to generate an advantage, right? Because they're just up on top of it. And that's where I definitely underrated how good Nia Coffey was going to be just in terms of being like one of the better defensive players in all of basketball this year.
Right.
I've always appreciated Nia Coffey shot blocking, but like just being a screen defender has been so good. I think Courtney Williams has just gotten better at that. Kayla McBride, like I was worried that they were going to miss Bridget Carlton in that situation, just as a
Mhm.
perimeter defender, especially like having watched 4 years of Olivia Miles, like not give a shit about defense at Notre Dame and TCU.
Right.
But they really haven't, right? Like K-Mac has taken on like the #1 perimeter responsibility every night when I think she and Bridget used to split that up a little bit
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah.
And Liv has just been totally competent on that end, right? Like I wouldn't say she's like a massive difference maker defensively. The stats seem to suggest that. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily believe that watching with my eyes, but she's been good enough, right? And then when you
Mhm.
have like Courtney, who's just like tenacious, and Kayla McBride's so smart, like so good at navigating screens. Dean Coffey's so good at navigating screens. And again, Tosh, like playing the back line at the five just makes so much sense for her. Like she has been a defensive player of the year before. Like there are those instincts still that exist in Natasha Howard, even if she's not going to be that this year. I think that side of the ball is so much fun to watch them on because they are locked in. They make everything so hard and they're just like they play with energy all the
Mhm.
time. And it's not like they're particularly deep. Like you see some teams where they just send waves out, and like that's why you can keep the tempo and like the pressure high for so long. I mean, like this is a team where like Olivia and Courtney had to be on the court in the final minutes because like they literally don't have 10 players, right? Like they have to
Yeah.
have one of their starters on the court to close the game. But
Mhm.
they still have enough depth or enough like stamina, really. Like they're just a very well-conditioned team to play this hard all the time, which I
Mhm.
think is very fun.
Yeah. In each of the last, like, I think it's three of the last four have been blowouts. And then there was that one thrilling game with Golden State, kind of wedged
What a
in the
game.
middle there. Exact. Of course, the starters are on the floor for that period. But
Mhm.
yeah, and, they just blew out Seattle. They had the largest margin of victory in Phoenix. And I'm like, God, who do you put out there? Because, Cheryl took a ton of heat for Fee still being on the floor in that game against the Aces when she hurt her ankle when the Lynx were
Right.
up, 40.
Wasn't that in the third quarter
It was in
though?
the third quarter though, and Cheryl's like, I mean, you gotta have players on the court.
Yeah.
I'm like, at any point, like, how much, like, is there anything in the rules where like Cheryl can't be just like, all right, we're gonna play four for the last like
Yeah.
2 minutes of this game with a 30-point lead? We were always joking that like, okay, you need to put Court out there because Liv still has that young energy where she's like, I can still get a triple double, and
hmm
Court's, the wise, sage of Courtney Williams are like, I can just stand in the corner and get,
Right.
some rest and not risk anything.
Yeah.
Um, we've been talking. I completely forgot. I haven't even asked you the question I told you I was going to start with.
Oh, right,
But
right.
that's just how fun this is, breaking all this down. But I don't think it's crazy to have this conversation, and I know the fans are already having it. I got asked multiple times on Blue Sky. I got a text about it. Has Olivia Miles played her way into the way too early MVP conversation? Uh,
Totally.
I say she has.
Yeah.
And I think if you had to do, if this season's over,
hmm
voters vote, select your first team all W, she's on it.
hmm
And that's essentially, the top five MVP race,
Right,
as
because
well.
it's not positional. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I think, maybe 6 games ago, people were less like, okay, yeah, but we'll talk in another few weeks. Well, it's been another few weeks now,
Yeah.
and it's gotten even better. And they've played Atlanta twice. They've played Dallas twice. They played Golden State. Still big game coming up against Vegas, which we'll talk more about. But just and I know on a recent conversation, no offseason, talking about what Liv's doing in the context of, is it the best rookie season ever?
hmm
So just, yeah, is she an MVP candidate right now? And just how do you assess this incredible start for her?
Yeah, I am very much a best player on the best team kind of voter when it comes to MVP. I
Hmm.
realize it's kind of boring, but I think like winning is just the most value you can provide,
Sure.
and I realize that depends a lot on the context of your teammates. But like Olivia makes things so much easier for everyone else on her team, right? Like she is the engine of that offense, and like statistically, it's really hard to argue with. Like she's ahead of Asia Wilson in win shares, which like kudos. Like
Yeah.
Asia's put up some incredible numbers in this stat over the last few years when she's won her MVP awards. But yeah, I think like I've sort of been thinking about my All-Star ballot right now because All-Star fan voting right
Mhm.
opens tomorrow, and like Olivia's like just a lock, to be one of the 10 starters. I don't even really think that's a conversation to be had. Like she's just going to be on that list. And then when you obviously like limit that down to see who's in the MVP conversation, I think Asia's obviously still there, right?
Mhm.
Who else would be like the Liberty? I think Stewie puts herself in this conversation all the time, right? She's been excellent. I always go back and forth between like whether Alicia Gray or Ryan Howard is like the more important
Right.
player in Atlanta. I tend to lean Gray. The numbers tend to like Howard more. I think Howard's defense has been a lot better this year, and Atlanta's
Mhm.
more of a defensive team, so like she would be sort of the
Yeah.
representative there. And then Kelsey Plum has just been like flat out incredible offensively, like the single best offensive player I think in the league. And admitted like there's a different side of the ball that she's not very good at, but
Right.
the value on offense is
Hmm.
obscene. So that's like my short list right now.
Hmm.
Um, Probably got to put Paige in there, but um, yeah, we'll whittle that down at another time. But yeah, Olivia is absolutely like to me, it's a 1-2 with her and Asia at this point,
Hmm.
and that is incredible company to be
Yeah.
in when you're
We all
talking
had
about
that on our bingo
right.
card on draft night too.
I definitely had Asia as part of the 1-2. I'll tell
Right.
you that.
Right. We were all halfway there. No, I knew this back on the night of the 2024 draft. I was like, oh, that pick that Cheryl's getting from Chicago for
Oh
Trino, the
my
Angel
God.
Reese spot, is going to be an MVP candidate in 2026.
Crazy.
Good, good bit of business there, coach. Um, yeah, I think maybe earlier in the year, because you mentioned Liv will for sure be one of the 10 starters in that
Hmm.
game. And I think that is a shoe-in. I don't know at what point that became a shoe-in. I think I just woke up one day and like the
It is now, I can tell you
Olivia
that.
Miles is an all-star starter.
Yeah.
But because I was thinking about this, I think it was when, like credential requests and everything started opening up for all-star. And I just, we have to submit a content plan based on this game with, you know, to be determined rosters, and you have no idea
Right,
how many
right.
players from your beat are going to be there.
Hmm.
And I just looked at the Lynx roster. I'm like, like, because K-Mac kind of got snubbed last year. At least I thought it was a snub, and Court was kind of on that borderline the year before.
Hmm.
K-Mac, of course, was added late to the game last year, but I'm like, it's so balanced, and Liv being a rookie, like the Lynx can get shut out of not
Yeah.
just all-star starters, like all
Right,
stars in
right. Yeah.
general, just because there is like people kind of like fan voting, especially. It's like who's scoring the most points, and
Hmm.
it's like everyone in the Lynx lineup is just averaging 17 points a game,
Right.
which is great, but also
Great
it
balance.
doesn't, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like Liv will for sure be there, and I think what K-Mac's done on defense, like I would say she's first team all defense so far in this portion of the season, but that doesn't necessarily get you votes in an all-star game.
Hmm.
Hopefully, that's what the coaches recognize when, the coaching aspect comes into it. But who else do you see as maybe like I don't think they'd get another starter, but just like who is like in that group of 24 players, just like kind of with a bullet.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think like I'm gonna start eliminating people first because it's easier. I don't think
Right.
Nia Copy's getting in there. Just
I
like
think we can
box
agree on
score
that.
wise, not
Yeah.
gonna happen. As much as I adore the way she
There,
plays, it's just
there needs to be just a 3-point blocking competition
yeah,
added to
just
All-Star
put Nia there
Weekend.
during a
Yeah.
3-point shootout.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's the new 3-point contest is
Yeah,
Nia Coffee closing out on you while doing
it's a
all those attempts.
terrifying prospect. Like I don't. It's really, really
Right.
impressive what she does. Um, I think Courtney is probably the most likely to make it
Right.
out of the starting five, like other than Olivia, just because, well, she has like the name recognition, like
Right.
people, and she's been an all-star recently, which I think it's
Mhm.
just easier to like look at
True.
last year's ballot and be like, okay, well, Courtney Williams is
Right.
still playing at a high level.
Right.
Let's keep her on the all-star team.
For sure. Apologies to interrupt real quick, but if you're gonna vote for All-Star and you're listening to this and you want to be pragmatic about it, both stud buds have confirmed they will be at All-Star Weekend no matter what. So Courtney and T will be in Chicago doing their stud bud stuff. So you don't need to give them your votes to make that
Mm,
happen. They'll of course
okay.
appreciate it, and Courtney and T are amazing. But yeah, so Courtney's gonna be there. I asked her about that and she was like, "Yep." So plan on
This
her
is
being there no
like
matter
when they
what.
have the USA versus World, and it's like, do I still vote for USA players on All-Star because I know that
Yeah.
they're going to be picked? Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to. You don't have to. But to be fair, there is a $15,000 bonus for making All-Star this year, and it was
Mhm.
about $2,600 on the previous CBA. So Courtney Williams probably wants a
Yeah.
$15,000. So
Right.
maybe, factor that
Yeah,
in
that's
when
another
you think about
Birkin. That's a whole
that's
that's
another
another,
one.
yeah, at least one. I don't know how much Birkins
Yeah.
cost. We're not raking in that much money in the
Yeah.
media these days. We did not get a new CBA.
Yeah.
Um, what about
I think
Tosh?
Tosh is probably like the third most likely, just
Hmm.
because K-Mac it's really hard to get in as a guard when you're not putting up 15 points a game. I just,
Hmm.
you know, I don't think it's gonna happen, which is it's too bad because like you mentioned, great perimeter defense. It's just trying to think of how this is gonna work. If you think about the bigs, right, the front court is always super crowded. But I don't think Satu is gonna be an all-star this year, right?
Hmm.
Alyssa Thomas, like Phoenix is having a down year, maybe her vote total washes out a little bit. Obviously, there's a big Nafisa Collier opening in the All Star game that someone
Yeah.
has to fill. I think there's a possibility that Natasha Howard gets in, like, especially if the Lynx are, 4 games ahead of anybody else at the top of the standings. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, there's only one Lynx All Star. Like, there's just a bias towards like rewarding
Yeah.
winning teams, which is I don't think it's a bad thing. Just like you look at the standings, you're like, oh, I think the Lynx should have more All Stars, and I that's where Tosh could be helped out a little bit. I would love to just see more rebounds from her. That's like a
Hmm.
perpetual Natasha Howard
Yeah.
thing. But no, I mean like 17-7 is pretty damn good, and she's hella efficient and the center on the best defense in the WNBA. Like that to me reads like an all-star
Right.
resume. So yeah, I'd probably go Miles, Courtney, Natasha Howard is
Mhm.
likelihood.
Right. I noticed this a little bit earlier in the year before it was the fourth game of the season, and Cheryl, all she would say in that post-game presser is, Chicago's a better team than we are right now, which seems insane that that was uttered this same season.
This season.
Yeah, less than a month ago. But I noticed just even those early games, I'm like, oh, everything's better when Tasha's on the floor. Even if she's not an insane shot blocker like Nia Coffey
Mhm.
is. On the rebound front, I think last night, Courtney's been the highest number one rebounding guard in the league this year, which is something
Yeah,
she's done
that's probably
before.
part of it is
And
that
I
the
think,
guards
yeah,
take so many
and
rebounds.
lives right behind her.
Yeah.
They got 15 between the two of them
Hmm.
last night. I mean, maybe one or two find their way into Tasha's hands at least.
Yeah, she's probably just
Um,
boxing out for them.
I
Yeah.
asked Cheryl that about that after the game, and she said, kind of, in her dynasty years, the goal was like, if the guards can get 10, we're in good shape. And then she added, so Simone would get like one, and then Waylon, we need another nine. Like, Waylon, Candace Wiggins, Danielle Robinson off the bench would
Yeah, just a
would
stray
get,
for
yeah,
money.
right. And yeah, we laughed, got a pretty good
Mhm.
laugh out of that. Props to you, Simone, love you. But yeah, that could be, a little bit of like why those numbers aren't popping as much, but just like Poch would check out of a game in a game where she had, I don't know, maybe like 6 points and two rebounds, like or like late
Mhm.
in the second quarter, and then the Lynx have their two worst defensive possessions of the half.
Mhm.
So it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is why, you know, people like maybe weren't like giving Howard enough credit for coming here. She's like does these like she's just doing the correct movement all the
Mhm.
time, which helps everyone else play better. Uh,
Not great depth at the center position in Minnesota either. Like Tierra McCowan
no.
doesn't really fit what they're trying to do.
Hmm.
It's a nice like change up to throw, when you're playing a bigger center, but and then I'm like Chakova out for the season, right? Like who is the
Right.
backup big? Is it Hoff or
No, Hoff's gone.
Hoff's gone,
Uh,
right? So
so yeah, they
Leah
released.
too? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Liatu who's they ended up using. I think they used seven of their 24 dev spot games in the first seven games,
Okay.
and then when they released Hoff, they waived Alishka Hamzova,
Oh,
and then
right. And now she's in the
added
depth
her.
spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they both her and Liatu have not been available, so I think they're still at seven. And
Okay.
Cheryl's just like, we can get through this stage, but yeah, McCowan's having a little bit of a harder time.
It's
But
also hard to come in midway, like
yeah,
she's never been in the system before. Yeah.
honestly, I think Kosu's the backup center right now, and also
Kosu, what a
playing.
great second season she's having. She's
Yeah,
so much better than she was last year.
it's and I think it was after that Chicago game too, where just Cheryl put it plainly, like we need more from our bench, like it just
Hmm.
has to be better. And none of them are. I think Maya Caldwell's had a couple games where she's popped from three, but
Right.
Cheryl's singled out her defense as being really impactful a number of times.
Was that the
And
Golden State game that she brought up, Maya? Like just pressuring, or was
yeah,
that a different game? Yeah.
I think it was that Golden State
Okay.
game. And Antonia Dallaire was someone like, okay, in the preseason, it's like, all right, well, if the Lynx are going to be good, then this person from Belgium is probably like scoring like 11 a game on like 50% threes or something. Like, if
Right.
we just get the Belgian Bridget Carlton, like that would be helpful. And like, so she's not like, her numbers aren't significantly better, but like she's kind of like, she came over and like got called for like back-to-back defensive 3 seconds, because they don't have that in
Yeah,
Europe.
that's right.
And I think she just like has she's just figured it out, and like how like I can be on the floor and be helpful. So that unit of her, Maya, and Ola are at least now incredibly playable.
Yes.
And you're seeing these games where, like when K-Mac played 39 minutes and 56 seconds in a loss, it was like, we can't have 30 of those
No.
this year. So them just sort of taking these like subtle steps forward. Maybe Ola's haven't been as subtle, but you're kind of noticing her improvement like pretty
Yeah.
profoundly. Um, but yeah, that being those three being better, and then like at some point, that's it seems cruel to take a starting spot from anyone, but Fee's gonna do it whenever that is,
Yeah,
and
it's just gonna take
then
Nia's. Yeah.
then you yeah then you can bring Nia in off the bench. I don't know if
Yeah.
Nia's minutes will change that much. I think
Yeah.
uh
And I do wonder how Dorka factors into this when she gets back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone was, I think, was like, okay, at some just you tread water till Fee gets back, till Dorka gets back, then you have this
Mhm.
starting front court of Fee and Dorka. I
Dorka's
think
not starting.
I would take the under on any number of starts Dorka gets this year if
Yeah.
Natasha Howard's healthy. You are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
taking Natasha. You're not taking all-star Natasha Howard
Yeah.
out of this lineup. I don't care about that EuroLeague MVP. Just kidding, I do care about it, Dorka, but not starting. Can still get minutes. I think Cheryl's been more creative with different lineups this year, and I don't know
Mhm.
if that's noticeable. And you're watching
Oh,
every
totally
team
is.
much
Yeah.
closer than I am, and it's just kind of like fascinating and fun to see. Like, oh, she'll put just like either Tony or Caldwell out there, and that's the only sub she'll make, or she'll just sub in all four active bench players to play with Liv, and that's fascinating as hell too.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we've seen, I wouldn't say a lot of teams are doing this. Like Golden State's obviously doing this with like Janelle Salon as their backup five
Hmm.
over Letitia Meher a lot of the time. And you've mentioned this with Minnesota, right? Like Nia kind of being a backup five or Kosu kind of being the backup five, right? Like, there's a lot of small ball happening, but like really, truly small ball, like not just a
Hmm.
center who's a little bit shorter. Like this is actually they play on the perimeter a little bit. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that's been fun to watch. And it's cool that like, I mean, this is why Cheryl's the best, right? Because they know they're going to need something out of their bench and you'd have to play them, right? Like I think she would acknowledge that she makes a mistake playing Kayla McBride for 40 minutes or almost
Yeah.
40 minutes in that game against Chicago, right? Like,
Yeah. She did. She did.
yeah, you can't just
Yeah.
do that.
Hmm.
Like, so it's as much on her to develop what, sorry, I always get Tony's last name wrong, her and Kosu and Caldwell, like
Hmm.
what they're going to be. And thank God Maya Caldwell's letting her, let's just call her Maya Caldwell instead of the full name because that would be a lot of effort,
Yeah.
even if it's all on the jersey.
Right. I've only seen it on the jersey.
Yeah,
Like she's not listed as Maya Caldwell Elwinger
gotcha. Yeah.
anywhere else. But yeah, I think that's a nod for the jersey. But
Yeah.
it's bad on me for not asking her about that yet, because there's probably an
It's a
interesting
lot of
story
name on
there.
the jersey. That's
Yeah.
like more than Gilgis Alexander. Like there's a lot going on there. Um, but yeah, I think that not a lot of coaches are willing to go that small. But I guess because you're always playing up against a dominant four, usually like anytime you set foot on a WNBA court, and
Hmm.
they're just so confident in their defensive infrastructure that they're like willing to let Kosu and Coffee and like all of them just like give it a whirl and like see what you
Hmm.
have. And yeah, it's the regular season, like, but these games still matter. And like it's cool that like they're getting actual meaningful minutes before, a potential playoff run. Because like I think about the 24 and 25 playoff runs and like how like against the Liberty, Maisha Hines Allen was unplayable and like Dorka barely got any
Right.
minutes. And like even in 25, like when Fee got hurt, like that was a very, very thin roster. And like part of that was injury, right? Like Dejanay went down and all of that. But I admire the efforts to build out some depth at this point of the year when like I was wrong. Like I just didn't see it happening. I didn't see this team having this much
Well,
playable depth.
n
Yeah.
no one did, and I get accused of being a homer all the time. And I think I had the Lynx at like four, maybe five in
Hmm.
my preseason. So if the these are people's other words, but the local homer who overrates the Lynx all the time. I don't know who said that. Someone did. If I have them at 4 or 5, that
No one ever
translates.
accuses that for me with the Sparks. I can tell you that much. No one, no one ever does.
Right. I mean, I had a pretty Lynx heavy ballot last year. It's probably the reason why I haven't been asked to vote again. But I'm like,
I've
number
also
one,
not received an all-star ballot this year. So
no, number one team in like every category. I'm sorry. We can have those conversations later. But I thought Cheryl's coaching job last year was better than the job she did in 2024. Not to hit on 2024, but I thought it was
interesting
more
question. Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
But I feel like those awards, it's always just like, oh, did the media think this team or this player or this
Would
coach were
suck.
going to be
Yeah.
good or bad? Or if oh, you thought that we thought they were going to suck, they turned out to be good.
Yeah.
That means they get the award.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll figure that out someday in sports media. There's other pressing concerns now though. On Tony's name,
Hmm.
I me and a couple of the broadcasters on day one or day two of training camp just asked her to
Of
say it
course.
out
Yeah.
loud for us. So we got it. And the way she said it was like this very, beautiful, elegant thing that I don't think the American dialect can say. So I
I'm
think we've
listening
agreed on just
Sloan
like
a lot.
Delaire or
I'm
yeah.
trying.
Sloane's got it pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, Antonia Delaire. I
Delaire.
think it's
Okay.
closer. I think it's like the actual is like Delar with like a very soft like at the very
Okay.
end, like Delara.
Gotcha.
You kind of just like roll the R into a soft
Maybe something
but
I can
I've
ask her when she comes to town.
for sure. No, and I actually, she's from Antwerp, Belgium, which is a place I had the pleasure of passing through for a couple days 10 years ago. Maybe my favorite city I've ever been to. And I
Hmm.
mentioned that to her and she got super excited. And I was like, oh, you're going to fit in really well with people in Minnesota because anytime someone says anything somewhat positive about Minnesota, we get excited as all hell. So this is going to be a good match. And I know
Just
her mom
mutual
at least moved
admiration
here
society.
temporarily as well. So I talked to her pregame yesterday. Tony is awesome.
That's
So yeah,
lovely. Yeah.
let's get more coverage for Tony. Lynx Aces this Saturday.
Hmm.
Is this the biggest game? Cheryl always says it's the biggest game because it's the next one. So at
That's the
least
next one.
Cheryl's
Yeah.
calling it the biggest game of the year
Yeah.
until, they play it and then home against the Portland Fire is the biggest game of the
It's
year.
the biggest
But at
game.
least for the next few days, Cheryl Reeve confirmed this is the biggest game of the year because it's the next one.
Hmm.
Uh, how is it even possible to hype up this game enough for, a early season game in June?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it
we
seems
think
like a
about the
heavy hitter.
last time they played in Vegas, which was the most impactful game of 2025 for a number of reasons, most of which did not end well for the Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
I
obviously the
mean,
game fee goes down. The
the
game
final
before
score
they,
ended well, at least.
yeah, 53-point win, but fee goes down, and then the Aces win out the regular season with 16 consecutive games. Also, a game which I love to point out where in the baby race at halftime, a baby started walking, which is just the best possible outcome
Oh
for a
my
baby
God.
race. The
That's
parents
incredible.
claim they didn't know what was going to happen. It
What,
was the first time that they had started walking.
those were the first steps.
First steps in a baby race.
Was
Yeah.
that T-Mobile Arena or Michelob?
I think this was Michelob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, this is why I understand why it would never happen, but why League Pass is such a joy because you get to watch those things.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's great.
that was of course a nationally televised. I think that was, Big Boy ABC covering that one.
Yeah. It was an important game.
Yeah.
So
Oh
back to
my God, that just
Vegas,
took me out.
the Lynx go to
I want to talk
Vegas.
about this kid. Where is the family now? How are they doing?
Honestly, not a bad where are they now story. Something to look
Right.
into. But yeah, obviously Commissioner's Cup implications huge. These
Hmm.
are the two undefeated teams in the West, so whoever wins gets a leg up. Although there's just a lot of good teams. Like
There are.
I think they've both played the Valkyries so far, so
Hmm.
they've both got that one in their back pocket. But like the Aces still have to play the Wings, and I think that's in Dallas. So it's not like they just have smooth sailing ahead if they do end up beating the Lynx.
Hmm.
But the Lynx are kind of in the clear if they win this game, right? Because then it's just Fire, Sparks,
Fire
with all due
Sparks.
respect to the Fire and the Sparks. Is that it? That's a seven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like basically winning in, right? And you're
Hmm.
probably hosting then, because you can't do better than a 7-0 record on the East. Right? You can't do better than that.
You can't even do, yeah, even
You can
six
only
and
do
oh.
6-0
Yep.
on the East.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, huge implications there. Also, just like the front court has been awesome, right? Like
Hmm.
Mia, Tosh, been awesome. Going up against Asia Wilson is just different, right? Like
Hmm.
that's the challenge to really assert of like, oh, can you hang with the best possible forwards and centers in the league, or is this just like it'll work against Jess Shepard and Camila Cardoso, who's like very on and off, and uh, I don't mean to disrespect these people, but like they're just not Asia Wilson, right? They're
Right.
just not. And so I wonder like defensively what they're going to do there, and then like I mean, I don't know that there's anything I want to see on a basketball court more than Olivia Miles and Chelsea Gray at the same time.
I know.
Can you? What a gift!
Yeah.
What a gift!
The one active point guard. She's mentioned a lot of great guards, both in the WNBA and in the MNBA that have
Right.
influenced her. Sue Bird, of course, being one of them. Had a very delightful interview with Sue on Sue's podcast, where Sue asked, who have you like looked up to and like who have you like stolen something from? And Olivia's like, you, come on, what are we doing? But also she mentioned Chelsea Gray as well. So it's the only player in that list of great guards that she could still play against.
Right. Right.
So that's going to get, I think, top billing for
Totally.
this game and whoever they play next. In what I'm calling
And
the
they'll probably be
most,
guarding each other, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
imagine they'd
because
have to
K-Mac
be.
will be on Jackie, I would assume.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then you'll put Courtney on. Maybe you put Courtney on Chelsea, and then you put Olivia on like Talbot. I don't know, but I imagine there'll be enough
Mhm.
possessions of them guarding each other.
Right.
Not
The,
as
the,
consistently as like the Olivia AZ matchup, which thank goodness they did that all game.
right. And they got a jump ball against each other too.
That's right.
I was yeah, I sent a rush text to our photographer, the great John McClellan. I was like, you get this jump ball. He was
Although
on
as
the other
somebody
side of
who
the
is
court, but
perpetually anti-jump ball in the W, I have to just I can't be a fan of that. Like just possession arrow it.
right. It'll be perfect for just to use for, every single time they face
Yep,
each other. It's like you got them in the air facing
totally.
off against each other. Um, but yeah, in this tournament that I am referring to as the most important cup based sports tournament of the summer in
Okay, the one that's
2026.
happening this week, right?
The one that's happening this, yeah, the one that started already.
I am wearing my
Um,
USA jersey, actually. I don't know if people
oh,
can
you
see
are?
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. This is an audio only podcast. I
This is an
still haven't
audio on
messed with.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, go Team USA, of
Hmm.
course. Looking I
It's a men's jersey because there are no stars on it. So, alas.
ah! Talk about strays. They're not a stray, just a fact. No, no,
I
no,
did
no
see
stars.
Carly
Yeah.
Lloyd at the airport earlier in this week. That was a fun time.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We don't need to
nice.
devolve into all of
Right.
this
But no, we are,
cup-based tournaments.
I think you and I might be the two biggest fans of the in-season tournament, at least
Hmm.
among the media.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Being like, I think in every other country in the world, there were these, concurrent in-season tournaments that mean something.
Hmm.
And it took America over 100 years to realize, like, oh, that. So, like, you can at
That was
least
cool.
be for teams in other sports in other countries. It's like the number of trophies you win is a measuring stick of success. And the
Hmm.
American sports mind just can't comprehend that there's more than one trophy for a given sport. And, I know a lot
Maybe
of
it'll take someone winning, the double. I guess the Aces have done the
sure.
double. So no, it won't. It's already
The
we're
Aces have
past
done the
it.
double.
Yeah, they did it in
Well,
2022, now that I think about it. Yeah.
yeah. Um, okay, well,
Yeah.
we need multiple doubles then.
We need
I
multiple doubles. Maybe that's what
I
it
agree
is.
with the Lynx did when they won in 24. So they did hang a banner for it with
Hmm.
it's like Commissioner's Cup champion, and there's places to add years to it.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So
yeah.
there won't be, and also it's unfairly kind of divided into a Lynx side and a Timberwolves side, and there's not much room left on that Lynx side. So I don't know if they win it all this year. Are they going to make any banners
We are
smaller? Or
still
there's going to be
looking
like,
for our first like multi-time cup champion. They have been five champions in 5 years, so that could be
oh,
interesting.
yeah, I think that is true. Every year I kind of ask Cheryl just like, is this getting more a part of
Hmm.
the Lynx have a winning culture. It's like a tournament. Like, how much do you care
Yeah.
about this? And she's like, the players care about it. And I'm just like, but she really did care about it after the 2020. My favorite Cheryl press conference ever was that 2024 post game after beating
Mm.
the Liberty in New York. And she was just like, you know what? I got time today. I'm going to tell all of you have not been covering us well enough. And I'm sitting there on Zoom, just like, I've been trying, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I think, yeah, that's what I got for you, Sabrina. That was a lot.
I mean,
And
what a lovely time to be covering the Minnesota Lynx. Just a fun group of
hmm
people. They have been mentioning the Commissioner's Cup in all the press conferences. The players have like I've listened in on a lot of Minnesota Lynx
hmm
availabilities of late, and you know, Commissioner's Cup just
right,
comes up over and over again.
right.
So kudos to them, for recognizing what fun this can possibly be,
hmm
joining you and me in this endeavor. But yeah, also just like Olivia Miles seems like such a fun person to cover. Like
Yeah.
just talking wise, I haven't had the opportunity to really sit down with her all that often. The only time I got to see her play in person, I got to see her play in person once in college at Notre Dame, and then like at the Sacramento Regional when TCU was there. And she's just very fun and like very
hmm
light and
Yeah.
like understands like her place in this like hierarchy, but like
hmm
she's like humble, but like also like accepts it like, oh yeah, I'm very good and I can like speak about myself as if I'm very good,
Yeah.
which I like that combination.
It's a brand of confidence that I don't know we've really seen elsewhere. Like it's not a braggadocious bravado or anything. Even
Hmm.
though like in her interview with Holly, she did at the draft, she was kind of like, "Well, no one sees a game like me," and then
Yeah.
was like, "I, I'm sorry, I did not mean that in a harmful way, but it is
It's
also the
true.
truth." Yeah, and yeah, so she came in with a ton of confidence, but also it's like, I am going to learn as much as I possibly can from all these veterans that
Yeah.
I'm playing with and like these coaches. So after the first game of the season, you could tell she took that loss pretty hard.
Hmm.
And like there's literally like Courtney Williams sitting next to her, puts her arm around her and like Court stops talking to us and is like talking to Liv like it's gonna be okay. Like
Oh
we're
man.
fine.
The
Um
the
and yeah,
privilege of just like getting Courtney Williams to speak life into you on a daily basis, like, oh my God. We all
there's an
have that.
opportunity
Yeah.
there. Like there needs, I know we just all have alarms on our phone now, but they're like a Courtney Williams alarm clock, waking up with this like words of affirmation from
Yeah.
Courtney. Like, what are we doing? That'd be the
I would
perfect
pay
way
for
to start
that.
the day.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take this idea to Courtney and see what she says.
Okay.
I think she could be into it. Like it's like it's a Courtney bobblehead that's also an alarm clock. It's just basically it's a talking doll. That's what we're reinventing here. But
Yeah. But with
um
Courtney Williams.
right. Sabrina, it's a pleasure as always. Tell everyone listening to this has to, have your athletic feed bookmarked already. If they don't, I'm mad at them. But just where can people find you and all the places in which they can enjoy and support your work?
Yeah, so I write about women's basketball at The Athletic. You can either just like go to the homepage or the WNBA page or women's college basketball, or like Terry said, you can search my author page. And then we have the No Off Season podcast, which is available audio or video, whatever your preference is. And that comes out 3 times a week,
Yep.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
It's up to three now.
It's up to
Is
three
it?
times a week. I'm only on twice a week. So
Right. I just every time I go to my new episodes page, I'm like, there, fresh new off season. I know what I'm doing
there's an
today. But
episode.
yeah, no, y'all are. I know.
We
Yeah,
added, I think, former member of the Minnesota Lynx, Leisha Clarendon, is one of our
Leisha was here.
podcasters.
Yeah,
So, yeah, if you like listening to Leisha Clarendon talk, which I cannot recommend
I
more thoroughly, that happens every Thursday.
right. Yeah, no, y'all are killing it. It's a great show. Obvious subscribe. So, and then what is your social again?
Oh, I mean, I'm
Are you
not
just
on
at
Twitter
Sabrina Merchant?
anymore. I really don't miss that at all. But yeah, if you want to listen to me on Blue
Thank
Sky, I'm
God.
at, I think, Sabrina JM. I believe that's what it is. I gotta be honest. I'm not super up on the, Blue
Well,
Sky or
thank
Instagram or
you.
anything these days.
We need to just as a collective be like, everyone just step off Twitter, step over
Yeah.
here. There are some weird inconveniences. Like I don't understand
Mhm.
why the usernames are so long. I was up to, it was very, boomer man of me to get upset about how long I couldn't upload videos after the post game last night.
It
So
is
I was just
Sabrina
like,
JM. Okay, yeah, just making sure.
okay, perfect. So, but Blue Sky, we're having a great time over there. Blue Sky, the
It
place for
is fun.
sports.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I feel a lot less attached to it, which I realize is not a very convincing pitch to follow me, but it's a good, lighthearted
Oh,
environment to
you
talk
mean
about
a
sports. So
healthy relationship with our work life balance over here? Yeah.
couldn't be me.
Yeah. What a concept. All right. Well, Sabrina, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sure I'll see you at All Star, if not before.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
Thank you again to my guest, Sabrina Merchant, for taking the time to be on today's episode of Lynx Happy Hour. Sabrina is one of the best in the biz, y'all, so be sure to be following her on Blue Sky and all of her work covering the league at The Athletic and on the No Off-Season podcast. Thank you once again to Nate Pentz and the entire team at Pentz Homes. Thank you to Firehawk Construction, to Better's Edge and Homage Apparel, and the entire team at the Hitting the Hardwood Podcast Network. Be sure to check out hittingthehardwood.com for all of our latest on all things Minnesota basketball. Join the Patreon if you haven't yet. Always a great thing to do. Keeps you, first in line for everything we've got cooking over at HTH. Be sure you're subscribed, reviewed, liked up on Andrew Dukowitz's The Missing Lynx podcast. Andrew's doing a great job killing it with The Missing Lynx. There's episodes after every single game and even more. So yeah, you should not feel at a loss for Lynx coverage during this very, very exciting time. And thank you, as always, to you, dear listener, for rocking with this episode of Lynx Happy Hour, the podcast where Lynx basketball is always on special. Hope you've been enjoying this insane winning streak and also the very warm, dare I say hot weather that we're having here in Minneapolis. Really grateful for the frigid nature of that cold Target Center media room in a time like this. Thank you again for listening to the show. Have a great week, everybody. Peace.